The truth is, for most people, heartburn, reflux, and indigestion aren't caused by too much stomach acid. It's caused by too little. If you searched how to reduce stomach acid, I need you to stop right there because that's the wrong question. And yet 100 million prescriptions for PPIs are filled in the US every year. And the global antacid market, including brands like Tums, is worth over $6 billion annually. That kind of money depends on keeping you confused. Let's break down the myth and the business behind it and how you can actually heal your gut. Digestion doesn't begin in the stomach. It begins in your mind. The sights, the smells, and even the act of cooking signal your body to release digestive juices. Traditionally, preparing meals or pausing to say a prayer of gratitude shifted us into rest and digest. But today, we eat on the go, eat too fast, and we're eating under stress. And when you're stressed, your body literally shuts down digestion. It's really just redirecting that energy because your body feels a threat. Now let's look at the business. PPIs, proton pump inhibitors like Prilosec, Nexium, they're some of the most prescribed drugs in the world. In fact, more than 100 million prescriptions are written every year. Meanwhile, the US antacid market is valued over $3 billion, with Tums being a household name, and globally that market is expected to reach $9 billion by 2030. That's a lot of money and a big incentive for pharmaceuticals and consumer health brands to keep us confused. I'm not entirely sure who started this marketing message or how we were led astray to thinking we had too much stomach acid. Maybe we were making an assumption, but experts like Dr. Mark Hyman and Dr. Jonathan Wright show just the opposite. Heartburn almost always happens when you don't have enough stomach acid.
When we start getting heartburn and indigestion and bloating and belching and gas is almost always, and I really do mean 99% of the time, it is not enough acid in our tummies. Not enough acid? How come that makes heartburn? Well, turns out that since 1970-something, 1976, when we got a gadget in here which very precisely measures stomach acid output, a couple thousand or more folks must have come in saying, I've got heartburn, belching gas, and so forth, and they told me to take antacid, or they told me to take an acid blocker, or they told me to take something called a proton pump inhibitor. And I'll ask them a very simple question. Did you ever have your stomach acid output measured? And you know, since 1976, everyone, 100% of everybody has said no. And yet, it's a very simple thing to do. It's a very precise test. The specifications for how to do the test were published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal, which is the equivalent of our AMA journal. And we do the test exactly according to those specifications. What we find 99% of the time is that when people have those symptoms, there isn't enough acid down there. So we'll say, take some hydrochloric acid and pepsin pills with your meals. People say, excuse me? I've got acid indigestion and you want me to take hydrochloric acid? And they take the hydrochloric acid pepsin with meals according to instructions, and the heartburn quits.
In functional nutrition training, one of the first things we're taught is to help improve digestion. And I'll say from personal experience, that was the place that I needed to start to reclaim my health. See, here's how it works. Low acid and food sits too long, so it ferments, gas builds, and then this weak acid splashes into the esophagus. We feel burning. We might assume that the root cause is too much acid, but it's really insufficient acid that started this process. Dr. Wright reports that 99% of reflux patients actually had low stomach acid when tested. So blocking stomach acid doesn't fix the problem. It hides it while causing something else, malnutrition. See, short-term PPIs might ease burning, but long-term, the risks add up. Vitamin B12 deficiency, which will show up as fatigue and depression and even dementia. Mineral deficiencies, which could lead to weak bones, hip fractures, and irregular heartbeat. Gut imbalances, like bacterial and yeast overgrowth, gas, bloating, and even diarrhea. A higher infection risk like pneumonia or C. diff. Heart risks. One study of nearly 2 million people showed a 20% higher risk of heart attack in long-term users of PPIs. You see, this is the business of health. Profitable myths that keep us stuck. perpetuating a cycle, maybe that make us think we're sick. So if it's not excess acid, what disrupts digestion? Well, I'm an expert in this. After 25 years working in corporate America and 17 years as a small business owner and being a type A personality myself, I can tell you what was inhibiting my digestion: stress. Stress blocks stomach acid, and it really redirects our energy to fight or flight. Processed foods, because they have no enzymes and no nutrients. Eating too fast, because the body doesn't have time to release those digestive juices and prepare the body. Medications and antibiotics, because they wipe out the microbiome. We need those friendly bacteria in our gut. And alcohol and caffeine, they relax the stomach valve, letting acid escape. Of course, we have, with aging, natural decline in acid production. Suffering right now, I hear you. I've been there. Here are some ways to ease your symptoms while you work through healing. Eat smaller meals and eat slower. Chew thoroughly. Digestion really starts with the smell of the food and properly chewing our food. Avoid lying down for a few hours after eating. Elevate your head at night if reflux is waking you up at night. Let's talk about a few common remedies that people ask me about. Baking soda. It does work fast to neutralize acid, but it's kind of like a fire extinguisher. Great for emergencies, not necessarily for everyday use. There is a great book, The pH Miracle, and I learned a ton from that. And then there's apple cider vinegar, and this one is popular because it gently increases acidity. For mild cases, a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in water before meals may help. It's not strong enough to actually replace your hydrochloric acid in your stomach, but can help. One of my personal favorites is the Alkalime product from Young Living, which is a blend of salts and minerals, and it's very supportive, a little more supportive than just baking soda in water. And then there's digestive bitters. These can be helpful, but only if used correctly. You actually do have to taste the bitter flavor, swish it around in your mouth, let your nervous system respond. Bitters stimulate saliva, which is the beginning of our digestive process, and it tells the body to release acid and bile. So it's more of a signal to your body. It doesn't replace stomach acid if you're severely deficient, but all of these things can be supportive bridges. The goal isn't just to quiet the burn, it's to rebuild your digestion so your stomach can function as designed. Real healing happens when you support your body to do what it was designed to do. That's where elimination protocols can help, not forever, but as a reset. I call mine the system optimization protocol, and it's about resting, digesting, healing, and sealing the gut lining so we can return to a normal, resilient digestive system. I've seen this over and over again, both in my own health and in my clients. Everything that I teach as a functional health coach is through personal experience with myself and working with many people. I understand the pressures and the demands of corporate America, and also the never-ending stress of being a small business owner. I also can empathize with the tiring and thankless job of raising kids. I understand how we get here. I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for where you are in life and hope to bring you some relief and some value. When you take time to support your digestion, your energy and clarity can come back online. So the next time you reach for an antacid, pause, slow down, smell your food, say a prayer of gratitude. Tune into your gut, because healing doesn't start with blocking acid. It starts with preparing your body to absorb the nutrients it needs to thrive. If this resonated, hit subscribe, share this video with someone who lives on antacids, and stay tuned for more videos where we will talk about all aspects of health, including way more on gut health, and we'll explore also the business of health and why we have some of these myths or misinformation. See you in the next one.